Trying to eat a little bird. Maybe you and the big bad wolf are two of a kind. Only you prefer pig.
Objection. Is there a question here?
Sustained. Move on, counsel.
I have no need to question the witness any further, Your Honor. I am sure the jury gets my point.
You may step down, Mr. Cat.
Please state your name.
Curly Pig,
Where do you live, Mr. Pig?
283 Skyline, right off from Wood Avenue.
Curly, do you know the plaintiff in this case? B.B. Wolf?
Are you kidding? That wolf with sheep clothing? He just trying to look innocent, but he's not. Let me tell you.
Gentle animals, please. If you don't stop this bickering, I have to hold you both in contempt of court. Now let's proceed with the question.
Go ahead then, Miss Pig. How do you first come to know Mr. Wolf?
Well, it wasn't under the friendly circumstances. I started knowing about him when he hooked and puffed and blew down the houses of my brothers Larry and Mo. Then he ate them. That guy just mean.
When did you get to know Wolf personally?
Well, after BB had ate in my after he had ate in my brother, I guess he thought that I would be easy picking. But he didn't count on that my house was built out of bricks. So when the murderer bomb came by my house that morning with his funny little line, little pig, let me in, I told him, no way, not by the hell of my chin. And I just kept watching TV. And then he said, I'll hoof and I'll puff and I'll blow your house down. And I just laughed and walked to my kitchen and give me a cup of tea.
Then
I got my tea and I was walking back to the den to watch more TV. Then I heard something scratching on the roof. And at first I was like, I couldn't imagine what them wolf were doing on my roof. Then it hit me. He was going to try again and get me through my chimney. I already had a big pot of boiling water on the fire for my tea, so I rushed over to the fireplace to take the lid off the pot. I started a cloud of steam, but let the wolf know for sure that I had a fire going at the fireplace and he shouldn't try to come in my house that way.
what happened next?
Well, I heard a lot of yelling and hollering and scratching and a noise that sounded like the sliding off the roof. I had ran to the window and looked out and saw Mr. Wolf went down the street as fast as he could.
Curly, did you ever attack Mr. Wolf?
I never did that. I was just taking my house, my life.
Thank you, Miss Curly. No further questions, Your Honor.
You may cross-examine.
Thank you, Your Honor. You testified that you heard a noise that sounded like Mr. Wolf was sliding off your roof, did you not?
Yes, I did.
The truth is, Mr. Pig, my car was blown out of your chimney when you opened the lid on that pot of boiling water. Isn't that so?
So where did he work? I was just trying to protect my home and my life. And what's the big deal?
I'll ask the questions here, Mr. Pig. What about the report that the cookbook next to your fireplace was opened to a recipe for poached wolf? Is that true?
Yes, it was. But it's not like it seems. I had the book open for the recipes to make apple pie I planned to bake. But I guess the change in air pressure when the steam split the chimney must have flipped the pages for poached wolf.
You expect the court to believe that?
Well, it's true. I swear by the hell of my chin.
Ah, yes, the truth. The truth, Mr. Pig, is that you tried to lure my client down the chimney into that pot of boiling water so you could cook him just like it says in your recipe for poached wolf. That's the truth, sir.
Objection, Your Honor. Counsel isn't asking questions. He's testifying.
Sustained. Get on with your questions, counsel.
No further questions of this witness, Your Honor.
Please state your name for the record.
Miss Piggy Musket.
Did you know there's been in this case of Curly P?
Oh, yes. Curly is my boyfriend. We make beautiful music together.
Well, Jesus, I thought you were had some more. Your Wilson or another inappropriate relationship with employment? Your Honor, could you instruct Mr. Weldon as to the punishment for bestiality in the state of Georgia?
Well, certainly that's against the law. Howard, calm down.
I'm so sorry.
I see. Well, did you happen to see Curly on August 19, 2006?
Oh, yes. In fact, I was at Curly's house. We were going to make an apple pie for the church we run. Curly is a wonderful baker, and the ladies in the women's missionary room are always eager for his contributions.
Did the two of you make the pie this week?
I probably make something else.
No, we were interrupted by that horrible B.B. Wolf. He kept screaming at us to let him in and threatened to blow the house down if we didn't.
What did you do?
When we heard him on the roof, Curly lifted the lid off the pot of boiling water to get him away from the chimney.
Did it work?
Of course it worked. My Curly is no dummy.
Did you ever hear Curly say anything about cooking Bibi's juice or having folks wolf?
Absolutely not. Curly would never eat anything that expensive. All he was trying to do was to protect moi.
Did you make any such comments?
Moi? I said nothing, not. I'm sorry, but you just said I said something like that. We don't get along, you know. He's always trying to ruin my reputation by starting ugly rumors.
Were you afraid for your life?
Afraid? Afraid? Never. I had gotten hold of Wolf. He would have been more than just a little thing, if you know what I mean.
Thank you, Miss Piggy. No further questions, John.
You may cross-examine.
I have no questions of the lovely Miss Piggy, Your Honor.
All right then, Miss Piggy, you are excused.
Mrs. Mildred, threatening her client may be failing to intervene.
No tampering with the witness. Call your next witness, counsel.
The bench calls Pinocchio. Check it out. All right. Check it out. Please state your name for the record.
I'm Pinocchio Bussy.
Pinocchio, do you know the plaintiff and the defendant in this case?
Yes, I do. Curly Pig and I go to the same church. And I was at Little Red Riding Hood house tonight. B.B. Wolf tried to eat Little Red Riding Hood grandmother.
Objection! Irrelevant, immaterial, and attacks my client's character.
Sustained. The jury will disregard the comments about Little Red Riding Hood and her grandma.
Pinocchio, where were you on the morning of August 19, 2006?
I was walking down the street on my way to Curly Pig's house, taking some wood for his fire station. I knew he was planning to make a fire for the church cigar. And Roberto had some wood left over after the car of my own, you see. Look, Mike?
Did you notice anything unusual when you approached Curly Pig's house?
Yes, I saw B.B. Wolf climb into the chimney on Curly Pig's house.
What happened next?
I saw Wolf's steam rising up. Then I saw B.B. Wolf scrambling to get off the roof. And then he went howling and stumbling down the street as fast as he could run.
Did B.B. Wolf appear to be seriously injured?
Well, he was starting to howl like he was hurt. But as fast as he was running, I would say he wasn't hurt at all.
Objection! The witness is not qualified to state a medical opinion.
The witnesses are offering an expert opinion. Your Honor, he's simply telling us what he observed.
We'll allow it this time. The jury can give a testimony the way it was worded.
I have no further questions, Pinocchio, Your Honor.
Will plaintiff care to cross-examine?
Are you the same Pinocchio who has the reputation for being a liar?
Well, I'm embarrassed to say I am. But I was saying so, even though that cloud still hung on my head.
With your reputation, Pinocchio, why should this jury believe anything you say?
Well, if you remember, whenever I lie, my nose grows longer. But, as you can see, my nose hasn't grown at all during my testimony. That stays gone. I'm telling the truth.
Sure you are. No further questions, Your Honor.
Your
Your Honor, would you please ask Ms. Melvin to take a personal life out of the courtroom?
Please get your time under control. Call your next witness.
The defense rests, Your Honor.
Thank you. Is there anything further from either side before we go to closing argument?
No, Your Honor.
Nothing further, Your Honor.
Very well. The defense may now give the closing argument.
May it please the court, members of the jury, we have shown that B.B. Wolf had it in for the Pig family. He'd already eaten two Curly's brothers, and Curly had every reason to believe that Wolf intended to eat him too. You heard the testimony. Curly was inside his own home, and he had told Wolf that he could come in. And yet Wolf tried to come in by climbing down Curly's chimney. Every person in this country has the right to defend himself, his life, and his property, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, using whatever tools he has, including a pot of boiling water. And that's all Curly was doing. He defended his life, his home, his guests. We ask now that you return a verdict to speak the truth. Tell B.B. Wolf that he got exactly what he deserved, and he will not be rewarded by this court for attempting to eat a precious law-abiding citizen. Thank you.
We will now hear from the plaintiff.
May it please the court. Members of the jury, you have heard several witnesses explain what a kind, loving, sensitive, and caring individual B.B. Wolf is. Why, he even brought food to the family of the old woman who lived in a shoe. It's just not believable that such a kind and generous individual would try to break into Curly Pig's home and eat him. There are three facts and evidence that Curly Pig never disputed. In fact, he freely admitted all three. First, Pig admitted that he had a large pot of boiling water in the fireplace. In the middle of August, some of the hottest days of the year. Who does that? Except somebody who's planning to cook something big, as in Big Bad Wolf. Second, Pig admitted that his cookbook was opened to a recipe for poached wolf. Think about that. Who needs a cookbook open to a recipe for poached wolf except somebody who's planning to cook one? Third, Pig knew that Mr. Wolf was in the chimney when he lifted the lid off that pot of boiling water. Well, he said he was simply trying to scare B.B. Wolf, but what he was really doing was removing the lid so Mr. Wolf would fall straight into the pot. Pig didn't know how much steam had built up, and instead of Mr. Wolf falling into the pot, the steam blew him out of the chimney, scorching him so badly he was hospitalized for over a month. To make matters worse, he lost the love of his life because of the change in his looks. Members of the jury, when you combine those facts with the other evidence, it's clear that Curly Pig was trying to kill B.B. Wolf, who was simply trying to make a neighborly visit. I ask you to return a verdict in the amount of $2,250,000 to pay B.B. Wolf for his injuries and to allow Curly Pig in no uncertain terms. His vile behavior will not be tolerated in Fantasyland. Thank you.
Members of the jury, you and you alone are the judges of the facts in this case. It is your responsibility to decide by a preponderance of the evidence whether the plaintiff, B.B. Wolf, or the defendant, Curly Pig, to win.